Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Salatu Sule, and I'd like to talk about the first time I was asked to give a talk on stage. I was in secondary school at the time. I was about 14 or 15 years old. I was a member of the Literary and Debating Club, and I had written a poem. Now, there was this meeting, sort of, where literary and debating clubs from different schools were to meet in a particular school in another state. And it was a big deal, and everybody always got so excited about it. So, someone in the club, I think maybe it was the club president or the patron, asked me if I would be able to recite my poem on stage at that meeting. And I thought, why not? Like, how hard can it be? It's my poem, I wrote it, I know the lines. I had never been on stage before, so it didn't occur to me that there might be a problem. I even wondered why they had to ask me in that manner as if there was a problem with it. So on that day, we drove down to this other state, and the hall was full of people, and different schools were making different presentations. Then my name was called up. So I stepped onto the stage full of confidence, and I began to recite my poem. I had only recited a few lines when I realized that the hall was very silent. There was no voice to be heard in that hall except mine. And all these eyes, like hundreds of pairs of eyes, were all on me, just me. It freaked me out because I'd never actually experienced that before. And it was weird. Then I got nervous. Then I forgot my lines. And the more I stared at those eyes, the more nervous I got, and the more my lines just fell out of my head. So I ran off the stage. I was crying. As soon as I ran to my schoolmates and members of my club, they started to comfort me and tell me I should just calm down. They would find a slot for me. I would go back on stage and recite the poem. I said, no, I'm not going back. I'm not doing that again. And I actually made a personal promise that I was never going to go on stage again. The next time someone asked me to speak publicly was some years later. I was in university by this time. It was the month of Ramadan. And every evening after Isha, someone would be asked to give a talk. So one of the members of the exco asked me to give a short talk. Because he was like someone I looked up to, I couldn't tell him no to his face. But inside, I was like, I'm not doing that. So I told a friend, a very good friend, Sister Aljanna, I told her I'm not going to talk. She was sitting beside me when I was called to stand up and give my talk. And she said, stand up. And I said, no, I won't stand up. Nobody would hear my voice. And she said, stand up, they'll hear you. I said, even if they hear me, they wouldn't listen to me. And she just kept harassing me to stand up and stand up and stand up. And eventually, out of frustration, I stood up. I began to talk. Once again, people fell silent. Everywhere was quiet. And some even turned to look at me. I was still nervous, but I just kept on until I finished my talk. I was so relieved I sat down. But that was the last time I think I ever told myself not to speak, that nobody would hear me, nobody would listen to me. Because from then on, if I was asked to speak, I did. Now, do I still get nervous before talking? Yes, I do. Do I still doubt myself? Do I wonder if it will go well? Do I wonder if I'll forget what I have to say? Do I wonder if I would freeze? I ask myself all those questions. Will what I say make sense? Will anybody even listen to this? Is it worth talking about? I use the questions to push myself to give my best when I'm speaking. I make dua before I start. I make dua when I'm done, that the speaking will be useful. But I don't hold myself back. In so many things in our lives, we hold ourselves back. We tell ourselves that nobody would find it useful, that it's not going to be worth it, that it will fail, it wouldn't work. And sometimes we've not even tried. Then at times we've tried, it didn't work out, and then we give up altogether. We don't try again. You see, when someone tells you what you're doing is not worth it, when somebody is telling you you are not good enough to get something or do something, that's one thing. But when the voice that's saying you can't do it is coming from inside your head, that's a big problem. You might have your own version of my friend, Sister Aljana, urging you on. But until you tell yourself, I can do it, I should speak, my voice will be heard, whatever your friend tells you, no matter the championing he or she does, you're not going to take a step. Somebody would say, yes, but some things wouldn't work out no matter what. And my answer to that is until you've tried and the moment is past, that's only when you know, okay, that didn't work out. So if you're going to try again after having failed at something, try again, but strategize you're trying again. Ask yourself what went wrong last time. Can I change it in any way? Consult others, get their opinion about it, then approach it from a new angle. And yes, sometimes give yourself distance. Let some time pass before you try that same thing again. Distract yourself. Sometimes perspective helps you see a situation much more clearly. So, for all those out there who want to try something new, I say if it's good, then go for it. Will somebody find it worthwhile? As my husband sometimes says, there's only one way to find out. Try and see. On that note, I'll say thank you very much for listening. My name again is Salatu Sule, and may Allah make our striving easy for us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.